Shuffle in.
I
Yay.
see
Oh, hi.
friends.
Yeah, look at
I
all the
see.
awesome souls here. Great. And people are joining us again. Welcome, everybody. I'm Tish Hicks. I'm the Master Sensei of the VO Dojo here in Burbank, California. And this is our monthly Get to Know VO webinar series. Where each month we focus on an aspect of voiceover that it's good to know and get to know deeper. Um, so we're always talking about something super interesting here. Today we are thrilled um, to have one of our favorite nth degree, our working pro program members, Percy Blythe, joining us. Percy is an amazing voice talent themselves and also has created the amazing the Mindful Voice Actor podcast. And today we are in honor of Mental Wellness Awareness Month. Super excited that they're here to join us. Um, we would love to hear where you're joining us from, who you are, and where you're joining us from. So if you want to put that in the chat, it's always good to know. And so we'll be doing we'll be sharing our presentation, and then we'll have plenty of time for question and answers. We're going to be going to about 11:30 Pacific time here, so hopefully you can stay for the whole journey. We are recording it if you need to roll. And this is going to be one that'll be good to have the replay of as well. It's a super honor to have Percy here and to be exploring this topic in particular, because really one of the foundational principles of everything we do at the VO Dojo is that internal training comes first. We can practice copy, we can learn skills, we can do this, we can explore other genres, blah 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 blah. But it really is this intimate connection with ourselves that is where the heart and the soul and the engine of everything we do as voiceover actors comes from. Really, there's a difference between, I always say voiceover is a fantastic way to make a living, and the people that I know who do make fantastic livings really make it a way of life as well. Um, and it's not, let's say, it's not easy, but it doesn't have to be difficult, right? This is one of the most complicated things you can do, and it's not easy, but how can we make it not difficult? So, um, also want to introduce our team here, Jeffrey Gilbank and Kelsey V. They're here supporting us, so if you need anything in the background, um, uh, they are here supporting us, so thanks, guys. And super excited that everyone's here. Percy, welcome. If you want to do any more introduction of yourself, and we can jump in. Thank you so much for your beautiful presentation.
Yeah, thank you, Tish. Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you're coming from. Before we start anything, I wanted to just quickly do a nice deep breath where we breathe in through our nose, hold it for 4 seconds, and then breathe out, and then for 4 seconds, and then hold it for 4 seconds. So, ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. In, hold, 2, 3, 4. Out, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3. Cool. Awesome. Welcome. Uh,
Mm,
Thank you so much for coming. This is my first ever webinar, and it's
mm.
on a topic that I'm so passionate about, and it's such an honor to be able to speak about it with the VO Dojo, and I want to thank Tish for inviting me to speak on this topic because, I mean, who what better subjects are there than voiceover and facing your deepest darkest fears and insecurities, but in an attempt and effort to better yourself.
Mhm. Yeah.
Anyway.
And
Hmm?
and your journey at the dojo, Percy, has been so beautiful of when we first met and then how much has been happening and how you've so aligned with the power and possibility of your voice, not only as a voice actor, but as someone who's taking something that's so part of your experience that previously like separated or kept you from, and now you've just completely embraced all of it and really getting your voice out in the world in all of these powerful ways. It's really cool.
Yeah, I
Really, really
agree.
cool.
Yeah, at that point when I first started being the dojo, I probably, I mean, I faced a lot of the challenges that I'll be talking about today. So yeah, I'll we'll get to that. But all right. So today we will be speaking about various topics, including potential VO stressors, negative mindsets and cognitive distortions, the authentic self, practicing self care, and building resilience. So, first of all, a little bit about me. Hello. Hi, my name is Percy Blythe. Figured out that animation all by myself. I've been a voice actor for 5 years and a therapy client for 20 years. I know I'm actually 29 years old, so do the math. It's easy math, but um, I'm also the host of the Mindful Voice Actor podcast, a podcast that promotes mindfulness and explores topics of mental health in the world of voiceover. I started the podcast back in September when I realized that there didn't seem to be a communal outlet or just group focused solely on mental health and voice acting, and talking about my stress and my experience with mental health in general and how I applied it to voice acting. People were like, oh my God, like I thought I was the only one, like just all this stuff. And I was like, oh my goodness, I got to do something about it. So, some of the potential VO stressors, and you can tell me if any of these sound familiar to you, but here are a few that I, came up with. Fierce competition. We are in a pretty saturated market, but even so, you need exceptional skills in order to excel. Even if most people are just like, hey, I bought a mic and I joined a website, like, there's a lot of competition out there. And now, because of AI and all the people that are in it, you need to have that much more talent and skill behind you. Job insecurity. You're never guaranteed income in this work. You mostly will audition for free. And then when it hits, and it makes up for all of that. But it's never, ever, ever guaranteed. It's not steady. Unless, even if we book a campaign for a certain amount of time, you never know what could happen. Irregular and inconsistent scheduling. If you need to do something last minute, or uh, something, a client cancels, and it just, whatever might happen, you have to adjust your life to it. I mean, there's a reason that voice actors will bring their microphones to conferences, and I don't blame them. You gotta work, but it kind of sucks when you're there to, you know, be with the community of people who do the thing you love to do, but then you have to go and, keep doing the work. Some people don't feel like they can't get a break. Others are luckier. Maybe they can better afford not to, but, it depends. Time and business management, creating and maintaining a schedule where you can get everything done efficiently. I have ADHD, and this feels near impossible sometimes. Overload and burnout. This is, you have the potential to immerse yourself so much into your work as to neglect other aspects of your life, be it socially, health wise, physical, mental. I mean, just, it kind of just takes over. Isolation. You're literally in a booth all day by yourself. And that can be very isolating physically and mentally. That can also be related to self direction and not being sure, you know, if what you're telling yourself is good enough, especially in the early stages of our career where we might not have the same sort of confidence. Existential dread and AI takeover. Oh no! Oh no, guys. The AI is coming, and there's nothing we can do. Well, thanks to NAVA, the National Association of Voice Actors, we are fighting against it. But we do know that AI is continuously taking over jobs from voice actors. And while the quality may not be up to par now, who knows what it'll be like in the future? Which leads me to my last one, the unknown. Ooh, not just what the future will hold, but maybe if you do an audition and you don't hear back. Why? Is it because you sucked? Maybe you were the second best? You have no idea, and that can really, really get to you. People like to be, or at least from my experience, people like to have a good sense of what's going to happen in their future so they can be best prepared and have a better sense of what they need to do. And, you know, it doesn't really work that way in this industry. You don't get that feedback all the time. So here's some of the negative outcomes from those mindsets or from those stressors. Imposter syndrome. You all know what that's like. Well, I can't possibly be good enough for this role, this profession. No, not me, not I. Financial stress, because again, non-guaranteed income will not guarantee you income, and you could be in a really tight bind and not know, unless you have like a steady other part-time job, whether you'll be able to afford certain things. Disorganization. This applies to my entire life, but with all there is to do with voice acting and the juggling we have to do with business with marketing and auditions and reaching out and teaching, depending on who you are, it's a lot. Anxiety. I don't know if this one's like self-explanatory. um, Depression is also a potential negative outcome, depending on what you're more inclined to feel or experience. I myself have bipolar disorder, so this is something that can be triggered and last for a while, and it's not fun. And then that can also lead to physical health issues. I have an autoimmune disease which is worsened by stress, and it causes a lot of pain in my hands and feet and lethargy, and it makes everything pretty difficult, just overall. And then overall life disruption, kind of from all of this. So, one of the things that I like to practice, and I've done this with my therapist for a very long time, is cognitive behavioral therapy, which is a form of psychological treatment that has been demonstrated to be effective for a range of problems. Numerous studies suggest that CBT leads to significant improvement in functioning and quality of life. And in many studies, CBT has been demonstrated to be as effective as, or more effective, than other forms of psychological therapy or psychiatric medications. I will say first, I am not a medical professional. I'm not a doctor. I cannot prescribe any sort of treatments or anything to anyone. And I want to put that disclaimer in there now before anyone starts saying, hey, Percy said that, or if you misconstrue something I said, I can just use CBT. I don't need meds. Like, no. None of that. Everything I'm saying is just from studies or my personal experience. So CBT is based on several core principles, including psychological problems are based in part on faulty or unhelpful ways of thinking. Psychological problems are based in part on learned patterns of unhelpful behavior. People suffering from psychological problems can learn better ways of coping with them, thereby relieving their symptoms and becoming more effective in their lives. This is all, by the way, from the American Psychological Association. CBT treatment usually involves efforts to change thinking patterns. These strategies might include learning to recognize one's distortions in thinking that are creating problems, and then to reevaluate them in light of reality, gaining a better understanding of the behavior and motivation of others, using problem-solving skills to cope with difficult situations, learning to develop a greater sense of confidence in one's own abilities. And CBT treatment also usually involves efforts to change behavioral patterns. These strategies might include facing one's fears instead of avoiding them. Ah! That's one that, let me sip this tea real quick. Horrifying, but important. Using role-playing to prepare for potentially problematic interactions with others. And learning to calm one's mind and relax one's body. Whew. Ain't that's a really important one, and we'll discuss that more later too. So, with CBT comes something called cognitive distortions or unhelpful thinking styles. They can unhelpful thoughts can precede unpleasant emotions, and these thoughts can be irrational in nature and influence your emotions. Everyone experiences unhelpful thoughts to some degree. When a person is doing this automatically and consistently, these thoughts can lead to emotional distress. Now, you'll notice some of these thinking styles and distortions, the examples will have overlapping distortions in them. So, overgeneralization, making broad interpretations from a single event, seeing a single event as a never ending pattern of defeat. For example, I never book gigs, or I always make a bad first impression with clients. Maybe this came from an experience where at some point you really, for a long time, weren't booking gigs, or you weren't getting clients. Whatever the situation might be, it's a huge overgeneralization and an unhelpful thinking style. The next one, disqualifying the positive or a mental filter, recognizing only the negative aspects of a situation or feedback while ignoring the positive. You might receive many compliments on an evaluation, but focus on the single piece of negative feedback. For example, I was put on a talent roster, but I didn't get chosen for the gig they sent me. Man. Personalization. Holding oneself personally responsible for an event that is not entirely under one's control. For example, the prospective client hasn't responded to my email. I bet they think my personality sucks based on how I wrote it. Labeling. Describing yourself and or others by making global statements based on limited evidence. You might use this label even if there are many examples that aren't consistent with it. I'm stupid or I'm untalented. And that could be due to a number of situations, having that thinking style. Jumping to conclusions. Interpreting the meaning of a situation without sufficient evidence. And there are two ways that this is done. The first being mind reading, which is interpreting the thoughts and beliefs of others without hearing directly from those individuals. I haven't booked a gig with my agent yet. I bet they think I'm not trying hard enough. The next one is fortune telling, which is predicting the future, expecting a certain outcome, i.e., a situation will turn out badly without appropriate evidence. I probably won't book this big, so why even bother auditioning for it? Magnification and minimization, exaggerating or minimizing the importance of events. You might believe your achievements are unimportant, or that your mistakes are excessively important, or you magnify the positive attributes of other people and minimize your own positive attributes. I was 5 minutes late for my gig. Now the whole session is ruined. You go into that with that mindset, and it affects your performance. I got hired for a big project, but only because I fit the very specific demographics. Otherwise, they never would have considered me. This has happened to me, and I still feel like stupid for it. But that's which is another labeling. But it's something that it happens, and it's really hard to fight against. Should statements. Sometimes by saying I should or I shouldn't, you can put unreasonable demands or pressure on yourself. These statements are not always helpful and create unrealistic expectations. One of my old therapy coaches would say, "Stop shooting yourself," whenever we would bring up those sort of statements. I should be booking more gigs. Black and white or all or nothing thinking, or thinking in absolutes, seeing only one extreme or the other. You're either good or bad, right or wrong, or you use words like always, never, or every. There are no in-betweens or shades of gray. If I don't have an agent, then I'm not really a professional voice actor. Catastrophizing. Seeing only the worst possible outcome of a situation. Labeling a situation as huge, overwhelming, or the worst ever. Viewing a situation as horrible even though in reality the problem is quite small. If my demo isn't good enough to get me an agent, my career will be ruined. And this is one that's we're going to talk about more throughout the presentation. Emotional reasoning. Basing your view of situations or yourself on the way you are feeling. For example, the only evidence that something bad is going to happen is that you feel like something bad is going to happen. I feel depressed, so I know I'm not going to give an authentic performance. And for me, that is something that is like becomes so defeatist. It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. So I want to know, raise your hand if you've ever had any of these thoughts or mindsets about yourself and your career. You see those hands? Sasha, raise your hand. I'm just kidding. Well, guess what? You're not alone. Most people, if not everyone, experiences stress over these facets of their VO career. Lord knows how many stressors I've succumbed to in my lifetime. And VO just makes, is the cherry on top of that, especially because it's something I love. But that gives me the opportunity to work on it more because I'm inclined to want to better myself for the sake of my career. So, oh, I want to explore a certain word that relates to the last uh, thinking style I talked about, the emotional reasoning one. So, can someone tell me a word? Oh, wait, sorry. So, well, related to emotional reasoning. And I'm going to start with a quote by this guy. I don't know if you've ever heard of him. To know thyself is the beginning of wisdom. Socrates? No. Socrates, to know thyself is the beginning of wisdom. And when it comes to auditioning, one of the words that we hear for a lot of our specs with commercials and radio and everything, TV or whatever it is to be authentic. Be your authentic self, conversational, give us that authenticity. You want it to sound real. Well, this got me thinking about, especially when dealing with difficult emotions, what really was me and what was myself. So I separated it into two categories. There's me or you, a person. That is your physical self. A human being with cells, DNA, etc. It is what you are. It is the physical embodiment of your being. And then there's the authentic self, your essence or core, personality, values, experiences that create them. That's who you are. So you have yourself, the physical, and then your authentic self deep down, the nature of your being. So ideally, when we are performing, we are dipping into the well and finding things that resonate, which help inform our performance. So, whatever emotions or experiences that we can grab onto to help inform a character or behavior, emotion, whatever. However, sometimes we have things like anxiety, depression, and other intrusive thoughts that create a barrier between us and ourselves. We can't see it and maybe even forget that our authentic selves is there, or that we are fused with it. We become one and the same. And as I was researching this, I actually discovered a fascinating article that was written 2 years ago. It describes something called the self-axis model. The self is experienced differently in depression. It is infused with pervasive low mood and structured by negative self-related thoughts. The concept of self has been difficult to define, but findings from functional brain imaging and other neuroscience studies have provided new insights. They have elucidated how the self is supported by complex hierarchical brain processes, and we discuss how this forms a self-axis and demonstrates how this axis is set awry by depression. So literally, your sense of self. This study has helped better understand the effects of depression on one's perspective on themselves based on just the different parts of the brain. We, in a way, are literally beside ourselves when we are depressed. That's science. Science said so. So, so I wanted to go back to this concept again here and tell you guys a story. It was back in early January. I was feeling horribly depressed and struggling to find that authentic sense of self within me in order to perform. And it felt impossible. It felt like I had no space or vision to do that. And I really did genuinely believe that I had fused with that aspect of my being. And I'm sure for those of you who have also suffered from depression, that it, that thing where it feels like it's gonna be forever because it feels so visceral and overpowering. And in order to further expand upon my thoughts and feelings and desires for how I wanted to define myself separate from my emotional troubles, I wrote a poem. I called it Revelation of Self. It starts with a premise. Strong emotional states are not representative of the authentic self. These states cloud it, they distort it, but they don't make it disappear. The authentic self is always there, much like the blue sky ever present above the stormy clouds. The self lies deep beneath the fog of emotional turmoil. I can't see it from where I stand, so when I need it, I have to reach down and find it myself. The fog doesn't clear, but the further down I reach, the closer I get to it. It may take time, it may take concentration, it may take patience, but if I keep searching, I will reach it. When I get to it, I invite it up for a visit, knowing it can't stay for long. I clear the way for its arrival, and it stands tall, the storm swirling below. It does not look down. The self is not afraid. It just is. Though I myself may be afraid, I trust that this self, the self, will guide me as I continue to clear the way for its presence. And when it is no longer, as I continue to clear the way for its presence. And when it is no longer needed, I thank it for coming, knowing that I'll see it again soon. And though I may lose sight of it for a while, I know it'll be there when the storm clears again. And for me, that really helped me be able to see that, like, when we look at our physical selves and our authentic selves, is that similarly to our physical selves, these emotions are temporary. They will pass and they probably will come back. And you have to remember that the sky is clear above those clouds. The sun is there. Your authentic self is there. It is not tarnished, harmed, changed, or fused with or by the strong feelings you might have. And this is an important concept when dealing with people who have severe depression and may want to, do things to themselves or their lives that are irreparable. And it really helped me shift the way I thought about myself and my feelings, and, the myself being the sort of two things. And, what's interesting is different parts of our brain have different concepts of what the self is, what agency is, the concept of I. But when it comes to separating those physical attributes from our core inner being, those physical attributes that might be blocking us from reaching ourselves, it's important as people, but also as actors, that we do that. So what's good then is that when those negative thoughts come and they try to rain on us, guess what? The authentic self has a built-in umbrella. It is impervious to those thoughts and experiences, even if it feels like it's fused with them. It'll be fine. It's in there. It has a built-in umbrella. And so emotions, yeah, are like the weather, always changing. And that's, yeah. So now we're going to move on to practicing self-care. There is a woman named Ellen Forney. She is a graphic novelist and a bipolar activist. I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder back in January 2021. I was confused and scared and didn't know what would happen now that I was on this new medication regimen, and I hadn't actually figured it out yet. We were, at the time, me and my psychiatrist, kind of experimenting with different regimens. And in this presentation, she said that she had been stable for 17 years And at that time, I felt like I could barely be stable for 17 minutes. um, and that was really inspiring. And she created a method to practicing this self care and sort of a checklist of the things that you need to pay attention to in order to better your life, or at least maximize the quality of life to the best you can do. And it's called SMEDMERTS. Got a cute little mascot and everything. So there's sleep. Sleep is arguably one of the most important things that you can have in your life. God, do as I say, not as I do. Something I struggle with and definitely undermine the importance of. But it is restorative. It'll keep you from getting sick. You'll live longer. Just everything will be easier to deal with. Take your meds if you are on meds. Again, this is for someone who has bipolar disorder specifically, but whether or not you have mental illness, most of these can be applicable to everyone. Eating, eat healthy and eat when you need to. If you can eat healthy, obviously sometimes it's not. When I'm depressed, I just want to grab the easiest thing to put in the microwave and not even, just. It feels like that's enough, eating that, just anything when I'm feeling that depressed. But, you do what you can. Go to your doctor regularly. If you need a certain type of doctor for a certain type of ailment, go see that doctor, especially if it's something that you can prevent the symptoms from getting worse of in. And just, take care of your future self. Doctors can be scary, but you'll be better off knowing, being able to prevent something that could have been. I don't need to talk to you guys about doctors. You go see your doctor. All right, mindfulness. This also applies to meditation. Mindfulness, something that we'll be practicing later, but really just being aware of your environment and focusing inward on yourself and being in the moment and letting go of whatever crap is going on elsewhere in your life. Exercise, get that body moving. Again, do as I say, not as I do, because gosh darn it, exercise is tough to start when you haven't done it for a while, but then when you do it for a while, it feels amazing, and you just you make it a habit. Speaking of habits, routine, something that this is one of the things I'm struggling with the most and would love to conquer the most in my life right now, because routine for anyone, but especially people with ADHD, is paramount when you need to get anything done. Otherwise, if you feel kind of lost and it feels like you're left to your own devices, some people might be able to do without it, or be as structured. But what sucks is that people with ADHD, they thrive on structure, but they also hate having to work within it. Tools, that's being things like, I use an app called FocusMate, or a website where basically it's an accountability buddy website where you video chat with someone, for like a stranger, for an hour, and you set your intentions at the beginning of the session, focus on that session, what you set out to do, and know that the other person's doing the same, and then you end the session, and you recap what you did. And then support system, friends, family, I guess for me, my therapist, yeah, definitely my therapist. My VO community included too. Just there's a lot of wonderful people out there. As many of you know, we are an incredibly supportive and loving community, which is why it sucks when we feel like we're suffering alone. I'm sure most of us would be happy to, you know, what did I said camaraderate before, commiserate amongst comrades regarding any sort of stressors we're feeling. So remember we were talking about those stressors in VO. I'm curious, which of these SMEDMERTS skills or applications, aspects, do you think could apply to these stressors? What do you think would help with them? Obviously, you cannot get rid of a certain situation. Certain things are out of your control a lot of the times, but doing or practicing these well-being techniques can make them a lot more manageable. I once was having a panic attack during a therapy session, and we did some deep breathing, And luckily, I had been practicing it that week prior, or just, every night I had been doing it, trying to make a habit of it. And all of a sudden, the thing I was stressing out about, it itself didn't change, but it felt like I was looking at it from a lens that I could now handle the situation. I told my body, hey, there, whatever, I like Jen Henry says, monkey brain or whatever, our animalistic self be like, hey, there isn't a freaking lion chasing us right now. Like, be cognizant of what's actually going on. And the best part about being human is that we can change our mindset if we know how to and want to. So you calm your body from a situation that you're freaking out about, realize like, oh, that's just, like you're like realize that you're fine right now. Like you're not being chased, everything's fine. You regulate your body, and then all of a sudden, oh, okay, this thing I can now see as being at least somewhat more manageable. So this is the part of, oh, perfect timing. Oh my gosh. I would like to lead you guys into a guided meditation to help tap into your authentic selves and help you see what I hope to see in myself when when I wrote that poem, the sort of vision that I had for myself and what I wanted to help empower me in moments of depression, self-doubt, anxiety, just that separation of me and myself. So, all right. I should have had some music, but no. All right, everybody. As you settle into your chair, invite your breath to be natural. Oh, I could put music on? Oh, okay. Yeah, we have time. How do I don't even know how I would. I don't want to do it through the mic.
I think if you haven't already, but when you share your screen, you have the option to share your computer's audio as well. So you might need to reshare your screen, and then in the screen where you're able to select your different
Oh,
screens you want to share, there should be a checkbox.
I got it. All right, cool. And you guys let me know if you can hear it. Hopefully it doesn't come through my mic. Um, Hold on. Okay.
Avoiding athlete's foot? Prevent it with Lotrimin Daily Prevention
No,
so
not
you can go with
athlete's foot.
confidence.
Not
No,
athlete's foot.
not. Sorry. I should have gone. I have premium on my other email account. All right, everyone. Let me know. Can you hear the music?
Yes.
Okay. Is it at a good volume?
Perfect.
Okay. As you settle into your chair, invite your breath to be natural. Notice the inhale and exhale. See if you can detect the sensations associated with breathing. Notice if your breath is uneven or shallow, smooth or something else. To bring your awareness to the feeling of inhaling and exhaling. On the next inhale, invite your lungs to fully inhale, feeling the sensations of the breath filling your lungs. And once your lungs feel full, slowly exhale. Notice that feeling of release, of letting go. As you settle into your body, take a moment to scan through your body and notice any areas of ease or tension. Trust whatever you discover in your body today. Notice what emotions are present and welcome whatever's true without judgment. Welcome whatever emotions are present right now. Notice the quality of your mind in this moment. Perhaps it's scattered or distracted. Maybe it's very focused and calm. Whatever is true, just notice the quality of your mind. And if it's feeling a little distracted or scattered, you might try focusing your attention on your breath. Or if that's not available to you, notice the sensation of your feet on the ground, finding a way to gather all the threads of your attention and focus them in this moment. Take a moment to be with the sensations in your body, your emotions, your thoughts, without pushing them away or censoring them. Just welcome whatever is true. See if you can connect to a feeling of spaciousness. Or if that's not possible right now, notice whatever is happening in your body. And if you're able, rest in the spaciousness of this moment. Let your mind ease your breath and ease your heart open. Remember who you really are. Notice thoughts that arise as you remember. Invite your mind to be at ease and gently hold whatever thoughts there are. See if you can connect to the essence of who you really are. Not your title, not your identity, not your role, but your essence. Connect to your basic goodness, your moral core. On the next exhale, connect to the feelings that you associate with this. Notice what arises. Notice the sensations in your body. Notice any emotions that arise. Rest in the space of really remembering who you really are. And from this place of remembering, see if you can recall a time when you were able to make visible who you really are. It could be a moment of connection with someone, a moment when your values were made visible in your words or actions, a decision that was aligned with your moral core. See if you can bring that experience into your awareness. What do you notice? How is your body responding to this invitation? As you exhale, drop into the body. See where you can perceive this awareness, this place of wholeness in your body. Take a moment to investigate that awareness. Where does this memory live in your body? And as you investigate your body, investigate the wisdom that your heart reveals. What are the feelings that arise with this memory? What are the thoughts that accompany it? Connect to your memory of being whole, of being aligned with your moral core. The place of being whole and undiminished is really our home base. It's a space of ease. It's a space that we can return to over and over again, especially when we find ourselves confused, conflicted, or uncertain. So take a few moments to connect to the feeling of being at home in your body, in your mind, and in your heart. And if it doesn't feel accessible right now, just notice that without judgment, without attaching any story to it. When we're able to allow our mind to rest, our body to be at ease, and our emotions to be balanced, we have the opportunity to really strengthen our connection to our wholeness. And that wholeness becomes a resource to us when we need a compass to guide us in the face of adversity. Let's end this practice with a few phrases to carry with you. May I trust the wisdom of this moment. May I have the courage to see things honestly, clearly, and without judgment. May I be willing to let go of what no longer serves. May I invite a wise hope for the future to emerge. I'm going to take a few more deep breaths in and out. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Out, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. One more. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Now, just breathe normally, remembering these phrases of wisdom. May I trust the wisdom of this moment. May I have the courage of this moment. May I have the courage to see things honestly, clearly, and without judgment. May I be willing to let go of what no longer serves, and may I invite a wise hope for the future to emerge. And when you're ready, you slowly come back into your body, wiggle your toes, and wiggle your fingers, and slowly open your eyes and come back to the present moment. All right. Thanks, guys. That's my presentation. I really hope you enjoyed it. I hope you gained some clarity, insight, whatever you could from this.
Yes, amazing, Percy. Thank you so much. Everything just is resonating, resonating, resonating. Um, yes, so many powerful tools, so many powerful, um, just gentle reframes. We have everything we need. We just need to keep on changing our perspective on it. Yeah, I always talk about like when you see something one way, if you don't get it, then turn it around. See it another way. Look at it that way. Oh, look, it opens.
Yeah, and getting in touch with ourselves is how we can reframe that. We can't like will it into happening.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And so many powerful tools you know, this place is called the VO Dojo because we need to be spiritual warriors of the light to do this work. We step into the ring every single day. When we step into that ring, we face ourselves and we need to be ready to bob and weave and redirect and do all the things that we do as spiritual warriors of the light, bringing our voices into the world and making impact in the world,
Yes.
because we're able to connect with what resonates with us, and we can allow that vibration to resonate in those that are listening, that are receiving, that are
Right.
hearing the
And
messages.
of
Yeah,
course, you don't have to be spiritual in order to tap into yourself that way.
not
I
at
know that's
all.
a word I used to be like, so like, ugh, I heard and I was like, no. It really is about a sense of like, yeah, your being and tapping into what that is and how you can relate to yourself and the world around you and everything you're faced with and being able to reframe it and sort of flow with it.
Yeah, that way you just defined it, of your true self that is always there, always under the umbrella, always with us. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so beautiful. Um, well, we've got time for questions. We've got time to reflect. What resonated with you? What questions do you have? What are your dojo O's today? We can do that. Like, but yeah, let's open it up and let's hear our voices. How did that impact? Or how are you different from when we hopped on the call? Like, so much good stuff. Yeah. Let's open up the discussion. Who has anything you want to share? You can just raise your hand or unmute yourself. Everyone's stunned. They have nothing,
Everyone's too calmed and
no words. Um, yeah, it is. Oh, yeah, Tanakis.
I don't know. Is this working? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, great. It's been a very packed morning, and I came into this place with a lot on my mind and on my spirit, and I wouldn't have thought it possible for anyone to make it all melt away and to have me come in. I didn't think it was possible. That was magnificent. Thank you.
thank you.
Wow. Yeah. And this idea of the space that we created here, that we created here together, that Percy opened our minds, opened our hearts, took the time, gave us time to breathe and be, right? We can do that at any time. One of the things we talk about at the dojo is that whenever we come to do our work, in a kickboxing dojo, when you step into the dojo, you remove your shoes. When you step onto the mat, you bow in to start the work. So whenever, wherever we are stepping into doing this work, we can create a practice where we understand that we put up our umbrellas, and we call it the Zen bubble. We create the Zen bubble, and whatever's happening out there will be happening. Whatever worries or whatever anxiety, like I got about this job, or this is due in 20 seconds, right? All those things, that we have this capacity to understand, like, stand under the umbrella, darling, and we can go for the second. And I think this is actually, I think, we were talking about, we all step into our little padded rooms where we spend a lot of our day, like where crazy people go. But within this space, we create this sacred bubble of yes, right? And we can do that. And in the same ways that we are always developing our self-direction skills in terms of interpreting, copying, and being able to deliver, we also have the capacity, and it's probably a really, really good practice to add to our business and how we are as in our artistry, to recognize that it's our responsibility to be able to direct that space as well. We don't just do it when someone's hired us, and like, because when we're in a session, we get that like, boom, hyper focus, everything's like nothing can go wrong, right? But we create that session. We have the capability to create that session experience for us every time, in theory, right? In theory, yeah. Great, great, great. And the transformation can happen, right? And there's something really powerful that you just said. I didn't believe it was possible. I couldn't even see it. I couldn't even comprehend. I couldn't even imagine. And now, oh, that was easy. Huh. Huh. Yeah. Good, good, good. Beautiful, beautiful observations. Yeah. What else? What else?
Really quick, I want to get some more questions, but while we are all here, and since we're at the top of the hour, we'd like to capture the moment. If anybody's willing to turn on their camera and we could get a screenshot together. This was an excellent webinar, and before people start hopping off, if you can join us and can hang out a little bit longer, you're more than welcome to. But let's take a quick moment. So
Yeah.
everybody who would like to come on, and hey,
Hey,
alrighty.
say SMEDMERTS.
Yeah, I like that actually. Say schmegmerts.
Yeah, we need to get page two too, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Alrighty. And got it.
Yeah.
Am I on there or is my screen share taking up my face?
No, you're on. You're
No, you're
you're
on.
Okay, I guess I can stop sharing now, but
your top
or did I
left
stop
corner.
sharing?
Yeah, yeah. I turned it off. It's good.
Oh, thank you. Okay, cool, awesome.
Yeah, and then while we're at the top of the hour, in case you do have to go, Percy, how is it best for people to stay in touch with you, and where can we find the podcast?
So, my personal website is percyblythe.com. You can find my demos, contact information, work I've done. My podcast you can find at themindfulvoiceactor.com. The Mindful Voice Actor is also the Instagram tag username, and then for Percy Blythe VO, it's Percy Blythe VO for the Instagram. That was in a weird order. Um, but yeah, for the Mindful Voice Actor, that's been something also I've been putting on hold for a bit. I was going to be doing a few interviews last month, but then a lot of stressful stuff happened all at once, and I had to unfortunately cancel like two interviews that I was going to do in the same
Okay,
week.
you've
And yeah,
you've built it, and
yeah,
you're
it's gonna
doing
keep
it's
building.
all good. So
It is
yeah.
all good. I'm so happy that I got to do this. It definitely reignited my passion for voice acting and mental health, mindfulness as a focus for,
Mhm.
one of my values and something
Mhm.
that I really want to help bring into other people's lives whose
Yeah.
experiences I understand and can relate to. And it means a lot to me. And I'm really
Yeah.
happy that, again, thank you, Tish, because I haven't really engaged with this sort of stuff in a little while with the
Mhm.
podcast or anything. I've been largely putting it aside, which has been kind of, devastating in a way because it really did act as like a place, like a pillar for my
Yeah.
own sense of wholeness. And
Well,
now that's been built back up, and that flame has been reignited to just make it all happen again. So thank
yeah.
you, seriously,
Yeah,
Tish, from the bottom of my heart.
of
It means a
course. No,
lot.
but that is, if this resonated with you guys, this is what we do every single day at the dojo. We start all of the work that we do from this place of where do we begin? Why do we begin? How do we begin? And then we bring this into the work too. It's a very heart-centered a way to do it. We're always doing things organically and technically. Um, but this is a really intense business, and it's a really intense business to do alone. So we create this space where you can align with yourself and the power and possibility of your voice. And then we come together every single day, every single day, every single day to create this space where you always have connection. You're always working in community. You always have a place where when things just feel like the wheels are falling off, that we have a place where A, it's okay to sit on your axles for a second, and B, everyone can go like, here's your wheel. I noticed this. Hey, oh wait, hold on, here's another wheel. Oh, here, let's get this thing going, right?
Oh, that also,
So
oh, sorry, real quick, reminds
mhm,
me, I have a support group on Facebook called the Mindful Voice Actor Support Group. No one really posts in it. That could be possibly my fault because I don't really, prompt people a lot. It's sort of been like an open forum for people to talk about their stuff going on. It does have the option to post it anonymously. I'll put that in the chat as
yeah,
well.
that's awesome.
We
Mhm.
prefer, I mean, it is meant just for voice actors. I guess sorry for those who can um might want to join otherwise, but it's a voice actor mindfulness space because some people be like, hey, how do I get into audiobooks? And I'm like, there's a million places. I have that in the side. I say like, hey, here's some resources that are great if you have questions like that, but not here, please.
Yeah. And in terms of, we want to hear your questions and stuff, but in terms of keeping in touch with us at the dojo, I personally would love to meet every one of you. You can get time on my calendar. You can sign up for a voiceover once over, talk to Jeffrey. Um, uh, we will like meet you where you are, and see what's going on here and how we can be part of you getting to where you want to be. Um, so probably sign up for a voiceover once over with Jeffrey. Um, I'm happy to talk with you on my calendar too if you want to um, talk more and see. We have lots of great things coming up this summer, and we'd love for you to be a part of this. So, yeah, we got all those links in there, Jeffrey and Kelsey, for for people to share. So, and
Yes.
good. Yeah. So thank you. Let's bring us all together. What other things? What other questions or things that you noticed? Yeah, Mike.
Hey, first off, thank you, Tish and team, for putting this on. These are always great. And Percy, thank you so much. I didn't realize how much I needed that meditation this morning. So I really, really appreciate that. Um, and I love the podcast. I'm looking forward to the next episode.
Me too.
um, I honestly, are you a part of any kind of meditation app? Because your voice is outstanding. Someone said it in the chat box. Was like, have you thought about voiceover?
I saw that, right? Maybe. I don't know. I have the studio. I guess I could put it to use. I've a while ago, I think back in 2020, I did a Spotify spot on like meditation apps or meditations you could find on Spotify, but
Oh, okay.
a dedicated a dedicated meditation app or site company, anything like that I have not done. No.
Well, you're perfect for it.
Thank you.
Branded mindful VO meditations.
Yeah.
Very
I
good.
meant to do did I was gonna say I had an intention of doing that in my podcast at some point if I haven't done already. One of the episodes we do something similar, but I don't narrate it. So yeah, that's something I'll look into more. Thanks, Mike.
Oh,
You can always put out some YouTube videos too.
That's true, yeah.
Some animations and that calming music. I don't know where you found the music, but it fit perfectly
just
too.
YouTube.
I mean, the commercial you can leave out, but
Oh god, yeah, it was foot cream, am I right? Yuck, athlete's foot. Gross.
No. What other questions? What other observations? What came through? What are you taking away? What are you taking with you? I like that, not taking away. What are you taking with you today? That's kind of a nice little semantic shift, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm
It's
taking
bringing
away.
into the rest of your day. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm taking with you. Everyone's so relaxed that they can't even find words. It's good. Um, let's see, what other questions? Um, any tools that you I loved how did anyone relate to this? Pop, 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 pop.
And sorry, I called Sasha. I called you out. To be honest, I was looking to Sasha for support this whole time while I was feeling nervous about presenting.
You did
She's
a
my girl.
beautiful job. Yeah. No, but just to notice, like, everybody. And it doesn't matter where we are on our journey, guys. I've been doing this for, 30 years, and I freaked myself out about an audition the other day. Luckily, I like blessedly got another opportunity, and I was able to go, you got this, you do this, you know this. But yeah, no, it's something we all deal with every single day, and there's always new things to have existential dread about, right? Um, and so many reasons, one of the things we say at the dojo is like, nobody cares if you do this or not. Um, like, everything will be fine if you don't do this, but then why do you do this? And then what do you do so you can keep on doing it without with keeping getting the momentum going. One thing, if please raise hands and share. I'll keep on chatting. And this is one thing that really comes through from everything that we've been talking about. There's a, a, a thing that I've been thinking about a lot and have been trying to build my life toward. I feel like in my 20s, I sort of had an engine system that was based on kinetic energy, like let's go and let's jump off the cliff and let's do it and see what happens. Like it was about go 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 go. And then sort of in my 30s, it was sort of like drive, like a combustion engine, like boom, 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 boom. We must put fuel in, and then it goes do, 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 and pistons have to move, and it has to be moving. And then there was a little bit like in my 40s that I was like, I am plutonium and boom, and I just am super energized and people contain me. And I was like, well, that's dangerous all over. Um, and then I sort of moved into, as decades have gone on, how do we create a solar powered life? How do we create a solar powered life that we get all the energy that we need? Takes a little bit of time to set up an infrastructure. Might take up a little space. You might have to, turn things a little bit to keep it going. But it is quiet. It is clean. It is safe. It is infinite. It runs on 12-hour cycles. It goes off for 12 hours and it's on for 12 hours and it's on. You can store it up and it just is. You don't have to do anything, right? Maybe put the water in the solar cells or something like that, in the battery packs. But I don't know. It seemed sort of fitting in everything that we explored, right? Um, Everything we explored today. We got to a place of like, oh, I just have to be. Okay, cool, 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 cool. Yeah, I don't know if that
Yeah.
resonates with anyone. Yeah,
Um,
what resonates with you,
if
Kelsey?
if I can, yeah, if I can add my takeaway, for me personally, I have a really bad thing where I have the luxury of like all my friends and mentors being really successful, cool people, right? But I'm at the beginning of my journey, And so like it it's always good to take a stop, just like take a second and pull back and be like, hey, they're like 5 years ahead of what you're doing. And there's no reason for you to think that you should be like, doing it all, being it all, having it all. It's like, you don't have to do that to be valid. You can just be valid in existing how you are, where you are. You know what I
It
mean?
doesn't matter how old you are either.
Not
Mm-hmm.
at all. Not at all. Yeah. And also there's acorns, there's sprouts, there's saplings, and then there's oak trees, right? Like it doesn't happen. And that's one of the reasons when we do another offering that we do each month is called Ask the Sensei. So I invite a voiceover colleague and we basically just answer your questions, like what's on your mind? How can we help you? Um, but I also do an interview with them we call it the VO Dojo 21 questions. And it's basically asking people about their origin stories. And I say, how long did it take you from when you started to when you were working full time? And everyone has all sorts of stories and what they did and how it worked or that happened and then it didn't happen. Like we all have our origin stories. So keep on remembering that if you're on the beginning of your journey or halfway through your gestation or you've birthed your baby, you have your demos, you're getting it out and you have an infant voiceover career, wherever you are, um we are always becoming, right? We are
Even if everything
always
falls
becoming.
apart and you have to like
Yeah,
essentially start over, don't let that shame keep you back.
yeah,
Um, yeah.
yeah. And we're all, if you're in the beginning of the journey, you are living your origin story. You're living your origin story. This is the origin story. Well, I started this, and then I was like, wow, that took a long time. And then but keep on flashing forward to when you're telling people your origin story, because if you're in it right now, then at some time in the future it'll be something that you're looking back on. So, yeah. Yeah. Um, so, gosh, anything else anyone wants to share? I'd love to hear your Dojo O's if you want to type them in or speak them out.
I don't
Um,
know if everyone knows what a dojo O is,
oh
unless
yes,
you
the
explained it and
Dojo
I wasn't
O.
paying
Yeah, let
attention.
me explain that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, sorry. Thank you. Um, so at the dojo, at the end of any time two or more of us connect, um, we uh, we have a practice that's called saying a dojo O. So of all the things that we covered today, all the things that came through, all the things that were shared, what is one thing that really struck you today and made you go, or whatever the
Or
quality of the
oh,
O was, or oh, right, or
oh, yee.
um, um, um,
Hey, hey, hey.
um,
Oy vey, smear.
what is the what is
Dojo oi.
whatever it is, and then see if you can distill it into its most succinct form, which is another part of the practice. So yeah, so then we'll leave with, we still have 25 people on the call. We can leave with 25 little gems of of different perspectives of things that were distilled today. Yeah. Yeah, takeaways. Yeah. Um yeah, Kelsey, what's yours here? This is a good one.
Yeah. Yeah. The world will not fall apart if you take 5 to 10 minutes to center yourself, and actually your day will go. It's shocking how much just sitting down and breathing can improve your day, because you don't even
Mhm.
realize how much you hold your breath when you're anxious, and it
Yeah,
dysregulates your whole body. So,
exactly. That access of self. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Good. Tanakas.
I have the power to take this sacred space with me wherever I go.
Yes. Yes, you do. Absolutely. Yeah. Anything else anyone wants to share? These are gems. See these little delicious gems? You can like, oh yeah. Um, good, good, good. Oh, lots of hearts there. Um, hmm. Are people shy, or people can not clear, or what's going on for
Come on,
people?
everyone. What'd you learn today?
There you
What'd you
go.
learn in school?
Yeah, go ahead, VO artist. Come on, people. Um, yeah, it's sometimes vulnerable sharing our truths. That's a true thing.
Yeah, that's
Um,
true.
yeah.
Sometimes I'll have a thought like that and then like immediately like that shame filter will be like, "Oh, I can't reveal that. That's too
Mm,
much." And I understand and respect that.
yeah.
Um, yeah.
And also creating a practice of being comfortable sharing those most vulnerable parts. The when we are able to tune into our voice in its most vulnerable place, that's where we connect with the copy.
Yeah.
That's where that truth comes out. Yeah. Camille, this is a beautiful one. Do you want to share it out? Can we hear it in your voice, Camille? Are you available to speak it?
Uh, yeah, I am. I'm just sitting outside a coffee shop. I was in a park earlier, and I did a meditation. I had to go to another meeting where I go to a weekly meditation. I joined a group, and then I came back, and you guys were in the middle of the meditation, and I was like, oh, yes.
Sweet.
Yeah.
And then
What's
I thought, wow, Percy really needs to do this, just like Mike thought, right?
yeah.
Yes, yeah. So be where you are. It's not a message I'm unfamiliar to, but sometimes it takes a long time to really get it in there. Yeah,
Mhm.
be where you are and take that 5 to 10 minutes. Like as they say in the commercial, you're worth it.
Yeah, beautiful.
You're worth it, buy our shit.
Beautiful. Yeah. Kevin, what's your Dojo O?
There we go.
Mhm.
Just personally, I've got a long road in tapping into my authentic self. I can relate to some of what Percy was saying on just the basis of I've had a lot of personal struggles that have needed therapy help and whatnot.
Mhm.
Been working on it for a long time, but it's still intrusive. So, but even though it's hard, it may take a long time. It's good to know it's not impossible.
It's not impossible. It's not impossible because it's always there. And it really is creating the practice, you know. It
Yes.
is when we step into the ring as voiceover artists, depending on how you approach it, when you approach it as this way of life and not like, oh, a way of life, it's cult or anything like that. It's just like when we create this as our practice, but each day we have, ideally when we're working, we have 10 opportunities to go like, oh, what's this? What does this mean to me? What am I going to say? What is my voice in the world? So we have this opportunity to have to create the space and then reflect on ourselves. What am I bringing? How am I bringing it? And some days, and at first it might be like, what? I can't even comprehend that. That doesn't even make sense. And then there might be another day, 17 days in, they're like, oh, wait, wait, I had a glimmer, right? And then you keep on going, you keep on doing because you do it every day. That consistency, that continuity, that connection, that community, consistency, continuity, connection, community. Um, then it starts coming. It starts coming. And when you create the safe space for yourself and then put yourself in a safe place that's created with other people, then that can happen. That becomes fertile ground where you
Oh
go like,
yeah.
oh, okay, yeah, there we go. Got it. Got it.
Yes.
So
That's I knew it's like all the things the dojo stands for is like and what I stand for, they're so aligned with each other in that
Mhm.
respect. And it's super great to have a place like that that really focuses on that sort of like overall holistic aspect to being a voice actor rather than just like, the practice and professionalism. I mean, it does that too, but yeah. It
Yeah.
really
So thank
focuses
you.
on that connection.
Yeah, thank you, Kevin, for sharing. That's very brave and true. Brave and true. And everyone's on their own timelines too. We're each on our own um, um, what way that this is evolving. Our own
Journey?
gestation period,
Yeah.
our own gestation period of this becoming that we are doing. So yeah, yeah. How are we doing for time? Yeah,
Um,
we're
yeah.
yeah.
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say, also this reminds me, like this whole conversation reminds me of like the fact that like I think there is like a lot of shame in the VO community and
Mm,
shame over like completely human feelings. And I really like that mindfulness just lets you like sit with it. Like in the VO community, we all feel jealousy at one point or another.
mhm.
Maybe everyone on Twitter is posting about how, oh yeah, I just booked 5 games and blah, 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 blah. And like, I like that mindfulness is like, it's not about like pretending that you don't feel jealous or pretending that you don't like have that feeling. It's about like accepting it because
Yes.
actually once you accept it, it actually is easier to process. Like I was actually talking with my friend the other day and he was like, and I booked and I recorded and I did all this. And he was talking about how great of a day he had, right? And of course, it's one of those days where I'm having an absolute dog crap day. And,
Right.
I stepped back and I was like, he was like, oh, I sense hesitation in you. And I was like, honestly, I'm feeling jealous. Like I'm feeling, and we just talked about it, and like it made our friendship that much deeper because we were able to just be like, yeah, sometimes it's like that.
Yeah.
And that's what
So,
I wish we could all do. God. And like what you were saying about how much easier it is to process these emotions when you just accept them. Trying to push away or push down your emotions, it's like trying to push an inflated beach ball into a pool. It's just gonna pop up even higher. I think we all know people in our lives who repress and sweep things under the rug, thinking like, oh, it'll be, and it just makes things so much worse because these things don't really disappear. It just aggravates the situation and makes it more present and palpable, and the denial on top of the denial. And yeah, it's amazing how it like clears the air once you actually
Right.
have these conversations and can really be true with yourself and others, and you know share those feelings too. It shows the importance of our community also. And even though we're all auditioning against each other, it's like we're all still in it together.
Yeah,
And
we're all with it. Yeah. That's
exactly, yeah,
yeah, that's what we do at fight clubs, the working pro workouts that we do. Like we're all in this together. This is how
yeah,
it works. Yeah. Um, yeah. And then just also, Kelsey, so your friend was having an up day, your friend was having an up day and a booking day. You were having a lower on the wheel, it felt day. But we all, no matter how long our campaigns have gone, we've all had the days that then whoa, it's not, right? So we all it's all constantly circulating. So we always have to be doing that. Yeah. Nick C, I missed your O, but let's finish up with your O. Um, Great to see ya.
Hey guys, sorry my camera's off because today's a work day, but it's
No
great to see
worries.
everybody again. Um, it's great to actually see your faces. Um, yeah, no, Percy, I've been a big fan of yours for a long time now. So yeah, thank you for taking this here today. I saw that this was happening over email like yesterday when I was actually going through my email and I was like, I can't miss this.
Aw.
Um, but it's just super easy to forget that you're not alone during like the struggle times. I'm not gonna lie, I am coming out of a slump right now that was going on for like 2 months, and during those 2 months, I very rarely even stepped into my booth, and I felt guilty about it every single day. And it's just extremely important to just not identify yourselves by the work that you do or the frequency of your work, because if you do, no matter what work you do, especially if it's inconsistent creative work, you're always going to be unhappy. Just identifying yourself, learning ways to sort of reconnect to like who you actually are separate from all that, kind of like the activities that you were taking us through and the information that you provided today is super important to remember. So thank you.
Also, Nick, you and I are in the same place. Literally, the past 2 months has been very. I can't. Feeling unproductive would be like saying I wasn't at least, trying to make some sort of progress in my life. But yeah, I was in a slump too, not really auditioning and just having a lot of stresses in life. But it's so important, and I've realized this having depression, bipolar disorders, like you got to really appreciate those moments of stability, and when you're, finally feeling like you're coming out of it, and just sit in those moments and embrace them and make them just it's a nice feeling coming out of a long slump. That's what I'm saying.
I
So
yeah,
yeah, enjoy that and be in that moment for sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. I agree. Like you, I was diagnosed with ADHD earlier this year, and
Oh, welcome to
it
the
answered a lot of questions, answered a lot of concerns, but it still doesn't make things easier. But it's good to, it's good to sort of have those answers and have those resources, like you were saying. And yeah, I'm glad that you're getting out of the slump.
Me
Yeah.
too. This being here today actually is a huge sort of step that's helping me get up. I'm climbing over that ledge, and it's like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
there I am. Here I am among all these things that I love, and I know I couldn't see it, but here I am.
Yeah, yeah, it's a beautiful job. And I think this is also something that we always try to embrace at the dojo too, is that everyone's brains are different. We're all neurodivergent in some way. And the game here is just how do you take those things that are how your brain works differently and make them into your superpowers, right? Make them into you build your business around, okay, we know that this is going to be a part and I'm going to have days when I'm depressed. I am going to have to do a session, or I'm going to have an autoimmune immune disease that's not necessarily neurodivergent, but I have something that I deal with, and I'm going to have to do a session, and or you know, there might be ebbs and flows to how my business runs because there's ebbs and flows to how my person runs, and then we can always be striving to how do we keep it as consistent as possible. So the 17 years of stability is what we strive for, right?
Yeah. And remember those SMEDMERTS, they will help with whatever.
Mhm.
They're
Mhm.
not going to solve your problem specifically, but I can almost guarantee that if you keep those things in check, it'll make your problems a lot easier to manage. You'll have
Mhm.
a clear head and a more thoughtful intention for what you want to be doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, guys, we are right at time, a little bit over, but thank you all so much for being here. Percy, thank you so much for all the Beautiful intention and effort that you put in here, and fabulous job. Trust your vision, trust your voice, because it's really powerful. And thank you for sharing your
Thank you
gifts
for
and
allowing.
your
Yeah,
vulnerabilities and
yeah. Who
truth.
wants to see me at a voiceover conference do this shit, huh?
I think it's something. I think you're onto something. Yeah, and
That'd be cool.
yeah, and look forward to being part of the podcast
Oh
when
yeah, no, that's gonna be
it's
fantastic.
flowing too. So,
Yeah.
all right, guys. Thank you so much. Thanks, Kelsey and Jeffrey. And we do this. It's usually the third Wednesday of the month. Get to know VO if you want to kind of check the website and make sure. Sometimes we have to jiggle it a little bit, but it's usually the third Wednesday, and we have different subjects. If there's something that you'd like to focus on, like you'd go like, no, I'd like to know more, or this is something that I'm interested in, or something I'm stuck on, let us know because we can create a get to know VO that addresses things that are on your mind. And then Ask the Sensei is the first Wednesday of the month. Lila Berzins, our
Ooh,
dear Lila, amazing animation video game goddess, um, is coming up. Whatever that first Wednesday is, I think it's like the 3rd of June.
I think
3rd of
the
June.
first is a
Or wait,
Saturday,
5th of
so
June. 5th of June
okay.
is
Yeah.
Ask the Sensei with Lila. And super love to hear from each and every one of you. We can spend some time just talking about where you're at and where you'd like to be. So, thanks everybody. Have a great, relaxed, aligned, empowered rest of the day. Great job, Percy. Thank you so much.
Thanks,
See you guys
Tish.
later.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.